Jay here, Stretford, Paddock. This is it. This is the big one. Manchester United versus Spurs. Joining me as always is Mr. Joe Smith. Joe, yeah? Listen, I don't want to be melodramatic. I don't want to overstay it. But the manager's under a bit of pressure. He's running out of excuses in some quarters with a lot of fans. There's a game coming up against a team that famously, when Roy Keane was telling us how Sir Alex Ferguson used to do a team talk, he used to say, lads, it's Tottenham. Tottenham historically, and even more recently, are a team you can beat. Yeah. It's not like it's an unbeatable team, especially at Old Trafford, and especially when you see the form they're in. I just feel like this is the ideal game to silence some critics, get a win against a team that is beatable.
I agree with all that. I hate that it's already sacking him, everyone's crap, he's crap, drop the captain, drop him, why is he playing, why is that sub playing, why is he on again, why is he not started? I can't be arsed with it. No. I'm so sick of year after year after year of having to defend United and having to be sad and upset and disappointed and work out what's going wrong and let's get to the bottom of this, and you know there has to be something, and it's the manager and it's these players and it's the owners, and it's so demoralising. Yeah. And then obviously we've got Tottenham here now, like you said, who if you beat them you do get a bit of credit because they're a good team, top 6 team, they're decent, and you know they play a particular style. But if you lose to them, I mean, if you get a draw, it's not the end of the world, although it might feel pretty bad. But like you said, they're a beatable side. So it is almost the perfect team to play. Because if you don't have the best result, you kind of get away with it a bit. Obviously, if you get battered, then there's no getting away with it. But if you do beat them, you actually get a bit of credit, and you can beat them. So it is a good team to play, but I hate that we're back here again. We're back here again, Jay. I'm sick of it. I'm so sick of it.
I am sick of it, and I try to be positive. We try to back the manager. We have backed the manager. We try to back the manager, but we do know you have to win football matches. You can't keep drawing and losing. There comes a point where you go, okay, you've got to put a bit of a run together. Yeah. And I feel like hopefully this can be that, because if you get a win against Spurs, it can give you sort of lift your spirits. We've seen some good signs recently. I know the results haven't always sort of indicated that, but you can see what is working and what isn't. So this, fingers crossed, can be the platform to start moving forward. Because if we do lose to Spurs, I think he's in serious trouble, because I do feel like people will go, oh, well, not only have you lost to a team that it's Spurs, has that reputation of being beatable, is in a bad run. I think they lost, was it 5 of the last 7 or something at the end of last season? And I think they've been pretty patchy this season as well. They're not in a good bit of form at all.
Especially away from home. I think they've only won 4, well, they've won 3 of their last 15 games away from home.
Well, that speaks volumes, doesn't it? If they've won 3 of the last 15 games away from home and they come to Old Trafford and get a win, then the sort of the excuses go out the window. Yeah. And I think an added sort of element to this is the fact you're going up against a manager who is relatively new himself. He's been in the job for less time than Erik Ten Hag has, and also he has the things that a lot of people criticise Erik Ten Hag for. Ange Postecoglou has those traits. Like, people say Erik Ten Hag can be distant, it can be a little bit cold, almost like a school teacher in press conferences. Ange Postecoglou, you can question his tactical ability or whatever, but as a sort of a personality, he has that little bit of warmth, that sort of matey character, which, you know, sometimes I find it a little bit grating when it's like he'll have a bad result, but because he calls journalists mate, people sort of almost forgive him. Yeah. And I think that is a little bit daft. But when you juxtapose the two together, it just adds to this air that Erik Ten Hag's really got to get a result there.
Yeah, he has. And also, I do think that people are starting to question Postecoglou on certain things. So he'll think he has to get a result.
That's a good point.
Or that this is the perfect game for them to get a result as well. It is. And it says there, obviously, big danger. Like, there are certain things that Ten Hag gets criticised for, and I think ultimately it comes down to the results, doesn't it? Last season in the league was shocking. This season in the league has been patchy. I mean, what is, if we're looking on the positive side, we're unbeaten in 4, right? So if you don't lose this game, then you win, let's say, 3 of your next 4, then all of a sudden you're going, oh, we're unbeaten in 10 games here, and even though there were more draws than you'd like, etc., etc. I can see a way where in 3 weeks' time, this whole period can be categorised as a positive one. But if you end it with a loss, then it's 2 wins in 7 games in the league. It's 3 wins in 9 games in all competitions. All of these things start stacking up. United need to win this game for many reasons, and even at some point, just the sort of top 4 race. you can't just be dropping points most weeks. Like, you can drop plenty of points and still get top 4. I think, what's the maximum you can get? 114 points, something like that, and around 70 will get you top 4. So you can drop 44 points and still get top 4. So obviously that's not out of the question by any means, but you can't just drop 2 points here, 3 points there, 2 points there, 3 points. Like, we have to start winning at some point, because we're just going to stay fucking 10th.
Yeah.
And if we want that to turn around, it has to start at some point. And we've got Villa next, so it's not, it's unlikely to start there. It's a big game, this, and United are in big danger, and obviously so is Ten Hag.
No, I completely agree, and there's no point in burying your head in the sand, and you might think the manager's done, or you might love the manager. The fact of the matter is, he's still in the job, but these are the types of games that can cost you. I wouldn't say it was that game in particular, but that was one of the games I felt with Jose losing. Was it 3-0 at home to Spurs? When he was up against Pochettino, I think that was one of the sort of the nails in his coffin. These are the types of games where you look back and go, okay, if that had gone differently, he would have kept his job. With all that being said, we'll get into the predicted 11s. We're going to do it. We'll do mine first. I'm sick of doing yours first. Let's just start with, mine. I've gone with, I think this is, it's basically a very similar team than we've seen for the last few games. Just a slight tweaks here and there. So you've got a back 5 of Onana, Dalot, Martinez, De Ligt and Mazraoui.
That's the back 5.
That's the back 5, isn't it? Yeah. We saw Maguire coming in for De Ligt against FC 20, but that was a change. Then you've got a midfield 3 of, I've gone with Ugarte, or I think he'll go with Ugarte, Mainu and Bruno Fernandes. He has been picking Eriksen a lot.
No Eriksen.
Yeah, I just wonder when's that going to end?
He plays him every week.
I know, and also, I think, I'm asking, who is he going to drop? Is he going to drop Ugarte? No, I think Ugarte's going to start this game. Is he going to drop Kobbie Mainu? He don't want to. Is he going to drop Bruno Fernandes? No. So that's
So you're dropping our best midfielder then, Eriksen?
Well, he's not our best midfielder,
Well, he has been last 3 weeks.
Has he?
Who's been better than him?
Well, Mainu...
good question. Thank you. The answer is no one.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Genuine. I mean, obviously I'm being a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but I think he's been arguably our best midfielder in the last 4 games that he started. He's been better than Bruno, I think, without question. Bruno's not been great.
Yeah.
Mainu's been okay, but Eriksen's got 2 goals and 3 assists in those games.
I think you've got to put some context behind that, though, bro. Come on. He's got 2 of those goals against Barnsley where Mainu...
3 goals, 2 assists.
Mainu didn't play in that game, so it's unfair to say...
He's not getting any credit.
Right, Mainu was better at Sellers Park than Eriksen was, just in the eye test and the stats back that up.
I'll agree with that.
And also, against FC 20, I don't think Mainu didn't start again, and yes, Eriksen got a goal, and he also gave a goal away. So
50-50.
So decided he's our best midfielder. He ain't.
He has been the last 4 games, I'd say.
He's been better when Mainu's not been playing. I'll give you that one.
Exactly.
When he's been on the pitch and Mainu hasn't, he's been better. Yeah?
Something we can agree on.
Finally. We agree on that one. Anyway, but I agree with you, Bruno point. Bruno has gone off the boil a lot lately, and he's getting a lot of flack. Some of it is reasonable, some of it is OTT. I love Bruno Fernandes. I think the manager does. I'm picking him. Marcus Rashford, Joshua Zirkzee, and Amad Diallo. Can I shock you?
Yeah.
I think that is probably the best 3 to start with.
What, generally?
I think that's what the manager will do. But I also think the reason I say this isn't because I know people go, Garnacho's better than Rashford. Garnacho off the bench is far more effective than Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford starting is effective. Well, he can be. I think Garnacho off the bench is he's one of the best subs in the league. I think he is. And I think you lose something when you don't have someone like that on the bench. And I think starting him doesn't always add as much as you want. If that makes any sense.
I agree with you. We're just talking about that side. Do you not think that Amad is called into question at all? He's had a couple of less than, I think, against who was it now? Sorry, Southampton. I thought he was quiet. He was quiet against FC20.
I'm sorry to jump in straight. You say he was quiet against Southampton. He created more chances than a Manchester United player in the last 10 years or something.
Is it Southampton?
What was the game? Was it 10 chances he created? Which is like a record for
the game
a decade
where he scored, but other than that, I didn't think he was very good.
And again, I'll push back on that. Brighton, he lost his stepmom the night before.
That's the one.
He played and he scored.
Yeah, but he didn't play well.
No, but he scored. But by your metric, Christian Eriksen didn't play particularly well, but he scored. So he's our best midfielder.
But to your metric, you said Eriksen scored but wasn't very good. So Amad could have done the same, maybe.
Yeah, but I think there's context to it. You said he didn't play in the Southampton game. He was like one of the most effective
the Brighton
games.
game.
So you picked two games.
Mistaken.
One was a record-breaking game, and the other game he scored in.
That was a mistake. The Southampton one. I meant the Brighton game.
All right, that one game where he didn't play well, he scored.
And he didn't. Yeah, and he didn't play well against 20. I'm just saying, Garnacho and Rashford, could they both play? Is my question.
No, because for me. But you've got to pick one or the other, right? You can't. It's going to be Diallo, Garnacho, and Rashford. You've got to pick two out of them three, aren't you?
Yeah.
Because you're not going to play Rashford down the middle. I think we can all agree on that.
No.
Garnacho started, was it 30 games last season?
Yeah.
I think Diallo's been living off scraps, and I think he deserves a run. Like, when does he have a run in the team? He doesn't. He's not even had this season. Was it like... He started a couple of games, then he's dropped for a game. He's brought in again for a game, then he's dropped again. Give him the sort of... Marcus Rashford had a run where he was shocking for a long time of it. And I love Marcus, but he stuck with him. Garnacho had a run where his form deserted him. Certainly his goals and assists deserted him, and his form was patchy. Diallo's never had that. And he's had like... a couple of games where he's still been effective, but then he gets dropped. I think he deserves a run. Personally, I agree. I think it's Ronaldo's always saying like, he's technically one of our best players, and I think he is. So I think if it's a front three going to start, I would start them. Would you start Garnacho?
No, I wouldn't start Garnacho. I just, because you were talking about Rashford and Garnacho, and almost like only one of them could play. I just thought, I think Ahmad wasn't. I thought he was quiet against 20, and he's scored and assisted the least out of the three of them. I just thought maybe you could
again though, and I'm not trying to keep going back to this Barnsley game, but he didn't play against Barnsley, and I think Barnsley's like skewed everyone's numbers because we battered them 7-0. They were woeful, and it's like everyone's got a couple of goals. A lot of people got goals and assists out of it, and he had was it a cameo he had? And then it's like, well, I get your point, but it's like, well, Marcus has got 3 goals and an assist, and Garnacho's got anything. Well, okay, they have, but some of those came in a game where Diallo didn't start, and also, I'm pretty confident if Diallo had started against Barnsley, I think he could have got something out of that game, to be honest with you. Yeah. Right, that's my team. Give us your team.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've got our best midfielder in there. Bruno needs to be dropped because he's not been very good.
You've done it all serious, right? You've been arguing with me, doing it all serious, and making some decent points, and then you come out with this nonsense. Right, why on earth have you put Garnacho on the left?
Well, like I said, I think you can play all three. I don't think you have to choose between Rashford and Garnacho. That was my point. The back five picks itself. I mean, anything else is ludicrous. The midfield, Eriksen is the midfield. We know he plays him every week. He's been our best midfielder the last few games. So I think, why not keep playing him? Bruno needs to be dropped. I think we can all agree with that. Just to get himself together again and have a bit of a rest. Ahmad, I think, has been good. Maybe a little quiet against 20, but I wouldn't drop him. Neither would you. Garnacho, I think he's got the most goals and assists of anyone for the team, so he should start. Rashford's been on fire last few games, and I really want to see Højlund and Xerxes together. So I've gone for a 4-1-5, which you don't see very often, but I think it's the sort of thing that Ange would like as well. So Eriksen, I mean, we know he can do it. He's played 4 times in 11 days. Who is
it in Spurs' midfield? Is it Benson Kerr? Is it Yves Bissouma? Who else has he got? So you put in
too many. Maddison as well. Yeah.
Christian Eriksen on his own. You think the manager will go, Eriksen, you're my guy. Ugarte, no. Bruno, no. Mainu, no. Eriksen, and we go all out attack. Yeah, fair enough.
I think it would, because I think Højlund would benefit from playing with Xerxes.
Yeah.
And Ahmad.
Okay.
I think Garnacho has been good, and like you said, you can't drop Rashford.
Yeah. Do you know what, right? It'd be funny if he started the game like that just to see the reaction. Just to see the internet reaction to that. Just to see Christian Eriksen's reaction.
Just the sweat
when that
pouring
scene was
down
announced.
Eriksen's head.
Yeah, and he went, Eriksen, you're my guy. You're on your own in that midfield today. Listen, I don't want to feel like I'm having a dig at Eriksen. I like him. He's a good player. And I get your point that he's been playing well. He has been playing well. But for me, I think for this game, he's got a decision to make whether it's going to be Mainu or Eriksen. I think he'll go Mainu. Because I think Ugarte and Bruno will start.
Do you? You think Ugarte will start? Has he started in the Premier League yet? I don't think he has.
No, he didn't start at Selhurst Park, did he?
No. Do you think he'll start? Do you think that's going to be the case going forward? Because the one question for me with Ugarte is, I know a lot of people are questioning him, and we spoke about it on Off the Bar, but not really his performances. It's almost that there was rumours that Ten Hag didn't really pick him. Wasn't there? So, like in his head, will he find it easier to drop him and easier to play other players than to bring Ugarte in for such a big game?
I just feel like you need a DM.
Yeah.
Casemiro, he's not that guy, is he? I don't think so. And a Spurs, whilst they are beatable, they're still a pretty strong team. It's a pretty strong midfield.
Yeah.
And I just feel like asking sort of Eriksen, Mainu and Bruno, you're lacking someone who's probably going to sit in front of that defence the way you want him to. I know you can have Mainu as maybe a double pivot.
Or you can just have Eriksen as a single pivot.
I mean, yeah, you're not concerned.
Some are saying the single pivot.
Are you not concerned that he might get overrun a little bit?
Why?
Yeah. Do you know what the weird thing about that, right? The one that, like, obviously the Eriksen thing is, I get your point about him being undroppable, but it's that front five would end up fighting each other.
Yeah, and they scored no goals.
Yeah, they scored no goals, and I think you'd actually have a scenario where Højlund and Garnacho and maybe Rashford were in the middle of the pitch just fighting.
Yeah.
Because none of them were passing to each other, and they're all getting frustrated. And Diallo might even join in as well.
It's worth mentioning as well because obviously
he's too chill.
I've just thought about something. People are probably going to think Eriksen's a bit isolated in this formation.
Right.
I'd not considered that.
Are you going to drop Xerxes deeper?
No, Dallo comes in as that. So he's been playing as a kind of inside fullback, hasn't he? Inverting himself. So he's going to be so inverted. This is what basically he looks like Robbie Williams in the Rock DJ.
Do you know what, right? We have a really good debate on these when we put them on Twitter. Yeah. We have a really good post, and that's what you want to go on Twitter. Can you
let people know that Dallo's going to be inverting when we're on the ball?
That does change a lot, that. Yeah. So, okay then. Do you know what I love about this as well? When we do put on Twitter, there's going to be a few people that take this seriously. My only hope is that Erik Ten Hag doesn't take it seriously and completely ignores it. Because if he starts that, I think we may see the first time in history where a manager's sacked after announcing his team.
Ten Hag's like, Rude.
Yeah.
Come here.
And I think Rude, he's got one eye on the United job, he's going, yeah.
Look what Stretford Paddock are doing here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you thought about this?
Yeah. I think you should go with Erik. And I think that would be a really good idea.
Lock it in.
Yeah. And and Rude will be sat on the dugout like looking at Erik Ten Hag like, this guy.
He's got curly hair and brushes his teeth, this lad. Should we talk about Tottenham?
Yeah, go on then.
What a beautiful kit.
Yeah, they've got a nice kit, haven't they?
Yeah, white and blue.
I think Tottenham are up there with like the Evertons of this world, where it must be tough being a Spurs fan.
Yeah, it's shit.
Because like Arsenal are challenging, they're not winning much, but they're happy. They've got a manager they believe in. They've got youngsters coming through. They've always been thereabouts in the Premier League.
What, they won 13 league titles?
Yeah, they've won.
Third best team ever.
Yeah, and it's like with Spurs, they've not won out for, is it 16 years or something?
Yeah, like, 2008, yeah, 16.
They're not even a regular Champions League team anymore.
When's the last time they won the league? The 50s?
No, I think they won it in 1961. They did the double.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I remember it well. But yeah, like they used to be a cup team, Spurs, not even a cup team anymore. Then they were a team that always got into the top four. They're not a team that always gets into the top four anymore. They're just a team that's just a bit meh.
I tell you what I respect about Spurs, and this sounds like a piss take, but I genuinely mean it. They are by far the best team that wins fuck all trophies, aren't they? Because everyone else who's around them or better gets the odd FA Cup, the Europa. Even United, who are shit and will go up and like above and below Tottenham depending on any given season. We win stuff regularly. Chelsea do, Arsenal do, Tottenham don't. City do, Liverpool, like everyone else who's in that fight has won lots of trophies in the last 15 years. Yeah. Tottenham have won none. It's mad that they stay so high every year and yet bottle it every year.
It's a good point. Now. You can look at Tottenham's season, right, and during the course of a season, right, you can pick just pick random seasons for like the last 10, 15 years, whatever, since the last won a trophy, and you'll see during the course of that season they'll have beaten Chelsea, Arsenal, United, City. And I'll have nothing to show for it. And you think you could have a cup run like we did, where you get to the semis, or we played Villa. You played Villa, Forest, and Newcastle, and you've won a trophy. Yeah, like those are your Premier League opposition. Well, they'll beat top teams, and and even when they get to a final, like madness happens. It's like there's something in the water. Like we've got to a League Cup final. Who's the best manager we can have for a League Cup final? Jose Mourinho. Well, he's our manager. Let's sack him. The week of the game.
And presumably we've got a top up-and-coming or even well-established manager who's won loads of trophies to replace him with, because if you're getting rid of Jose for a cup final, you must have the guy.
That's one way to go. I've got a different way. How about we go with someone who's never lost a final, because they've never remotely been close to managing a team in a final.
Right.
And that man is Ryan Mason. Yeah. Even Ryan Mason was thinking, what the fuck am I doing here?
Yeah. He went, what do you mean I've got to wear a suit? I haven't got a suit.
Like, it was just bizarre. And then the time they get to the Champions League final, do you know when I knew they lost that Champions League final?
When they started Harry Kane.
That's a good point. When after the semi-final, I saw Poch crying. And I'm not knocking people crying, there's nothing wrong with crying, but you see, when you see a manager crying because he's got to a final, there's a part of me that feels like, is this it for him? Has he already got there and he's achieved what he wants to achieve? And it's like, this is almost like, I've done it. Rather than there's one more to go. There's one big game to go before we start sort of getting overly emotional. And I saw the fans being interviewed saying, literally, it doesn't matter what happens now, we're in the Champions League final. I think, what? Yeah. That's insane.
Because the Liverpool fans weren't saying that.
No.
They were saying, let's make it 6.
Yeah, and it's, that was just... and also, even like the semi-final against us, do you remember that semi-final in the FA Cup? Where they took the lead from Dele Alli.
Yeah.
And then it was Poch versus Jose. And which, by the way, Poch did beat Jose in the league, that 3-0 was mentioned. But in that semi-final, it was there for the taking, and they just crumbled. Yeah. So there's something in the water with Spurs, which again goes back to my point, there's no excuses, is there?
No excuse. Got to win.
We have got to win.
Certainly not lose.
With all that being said then, give us your score prediction. While you're thinking of that, I'm going to give the folks at home something to do. Get your phones out, film yourself in landscape, 30 seconds, give us your score prediction, and we'll use it as part of our pre-match build-up for the watch-along, because they're going to be here for the watch-along, yeah?
Yeah. We're going to win.
Yeah.
2-1.
2-1?
Yeah. No, 2-0.
2-0?
Clean sheet. 2-0. Okay. And it's going to be the moment.
The moment?
This is the moment. This is
as Marty McCutcheon said, my perfect moment with you.
This is the moment of ignition. Do you know when you put a bit of magnesium and all of a sudden it goes from being just sort of slightly dull metal strip to being a light so bright you can't even look directly at it because your corneas all just melt down your face.
Science or not?
This is that moment for Man United. Yeah. Watch us burn.
Burn like magnesium.
In a good way.
Right, in a good way. I love that. I think we'll win. And I think it'll be...
Magnesium style?
Magnesium style. I'll go 3-0. Do you know why? Do you know why I think we'll win?
Because you're fucking great.
I think the Lit. Something about the Lit. Do you know there's 2 players that are absolutely sending me over the edge with adulation at the minute?
Delict.
And Mazraoui.
Yeah, Mazraoui's unbelievable.
I just love him.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't because you got to look at the level of the opposition and everything, but I do. I just think... we'll be all right. Yeah. So that's my feelings anyway. Get involved in yours. Go and check out Joe Smith on the Sloppy Joe's podcast.
Good luck.
Very, very funny podcast there. Go and check it out. You know where to find me. Don't forget as well to hit like, share and subscribe. We are going to be back here tomorrow with the watch along. So make sure you join that. Plus we'll have all the post-match reaction too. And you can be part of the watch along by sending us your score predictions. That's been Joe Smith. I've been Jay Moy. This has been a preview of the biggest game ever. Thanks for watching.